Wednesday, May 17th, market analysis. Stan Ehrlich, good morning. 10:05 California time. Look what we have. I always start out with the stock market indexes, and this morning we've got ourselves up 4 3/4 points, almost 5 points. New highs for several days, a minor but potentially starting point, bullish breakout. This is the 1-minute chart on the spider, and we are high and last. Made a new high just that second, up 4.85. Looking at the little bit bigger picture now, the daily data chart shows you that we are starting to ruin that little head and shoulder top, which I didn't want to have work in the first place, which I like because I'm bullish, as you all know, since October 13th. Okay, and we have a probable new high close. All it has to do is stay here and keep going, as well as new high for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. There's only one more day worth of range above where we are, with a high of about 1770, about $1.50 higher. That'll put us up 586.50 approximately. And if we do that and get like 7 higher for the day, which is quite a bit lately, then we're going to have a new high and a potential new high close, highly likely new high close, since the end of January. This is going to be so close to that February 2nd high that it is likely to be broken very, very quickly. Also, maybe in the same day. I don't know, maybe today, although I think that's a stretch. And if that's true, and we do get higher than that, then we'll be a new high ground for, almost a year, since August, middle of August of last year. Fantastic. Perpetuating the long-term bull market, or what I like to nickname bull market of 2023. So I'm really happy to report this. We're almost up 5, 497 I just saw, 4.97. All right, we're going to be coming back to this, obviously, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think we just started the next significant leg up. Now, and it's ruining the little bearish pattern that was there for a few days, but it never started. You know, it just was forming. So now we have new highs and a probable new high close in the diamond for at least 4 or 5 days. Good. But it always did and still does have a lot more problems above current quotes, and we'll be making new highs for 2 or 3 months if it gets up to here in the first place, and then again, and then finally, and that's quite a ways, you're going to be making new highs since April, May of the previous year, for over a year. So what about the Qs? Hey, they've been leading the way up all along, and they still are. And I got one thing that just popped up on the screen moments ago. We're overbought. The QQQ is a new high ground ever since, look at that, ever since the high that we had back on August 16th of 22, which was a bearish ER sell signal on the top of that bull move, which was the highest high between the first shoulder and the head of the formation. And then you had your neckline starting from that reversal day across this high, last shoulder low, boom, we're up, up and away. That is the minimum upside objective at 347.17. If you want to get that accurate, 347.03, something just barely above 47. And we are now at 330.69. But in capital letters, we are now overbought for the first time since the beginning of April. And it topped out then for a few days, or actually a week or two, but it didn't go down very much. That's possible immediately. We're probably not there yet, but look also at that green dashed line. That is a very profound long-term support and resistance line. It goes back all the way to one of the rally highs after COVID. And that rally high was on about September 2nd of 2020. Some evidence of support in the ballpark on the way up to the top of the bull market. And I know, I got the top of the market to the exact day the ER trading system put a red line before the close, official ER red sell signal on the top of the QQQ before the bear market of 2024. That date was 11/22/21. And of course, we got the October 13th lows with a green bullish engulfing. You cannot, day by day, do better. All right, word resistance, and not just a minor resistance area, an important one. It topped out last time we were in this ballpark significantly. And I don't expect that now. I expect something a lot more modest on the downside if we start turning around. And I'm warning you, first time today, because of this overbought condition, it's coming soon. But I do have to make the comparison to what the DIA is running into and so on. And of course, the S&P 500 at the same time. So if we are having troubles and, well, we're in the ballpark of where we topped out before on the spider, let's go and look at some futures contracts. This is very important stuff in the S&P 500. On a scale, all the indexes today, including the outside up day we've got in the Russell 2000, it has a bullish engulfing in a support area for the lows and is starting to make new highs and new high closes for days and weeks. Very important. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 8.5 importance situation. Futures, sorry about that blabbering on. S&P 500, E-mini, doing just like the spider, of course, doing great. Love to see this happen. Was concerned for, off and on for a few times during the last couple of weeks, but I think we're on our way. Next. But I don't like the overbought condition in the QQQ. That does bother me. The bonds at support, trying to bounce off like yesterday. It barely closed above the blue. And today it got a little bit less than yesterday below the blue line and is currently a hair higher on the day. No big deal. But this is exactly how it could start to rally. Next chart is 10-year notes in the sideways trading range that we have been having since late March. Excuse me, for the bonds and the 10-year notes. And so it's kind of like no man's land. So if bonds turn up good, strong, so will the 10-year notes and the crude oil. We have been establishing the potential of a broad double bottom. That won't break out to the upside until we get up to 83.64. So there's a lot of elbow room between now and then. And then up at 83.64 is a significant resistance area, to say the least. Used to be support, turned into resistance. And then we have the resistance we're at the moment. RSI does not give us any help at all. It's neutral, very neutral, 54. I consider, by the way, anything between 40 and 60 almost unusable numbers. They just don't matter to me. I like something higher the better, or lower the lower, beyond Wells Wilder's original 3070 levels. And I learned this from Wells himself. So my little custom RSI is what you're looking at down here. I know it kind of looks like a vertical bar chart in a sideways manner, but no, that's not what it is. Crude oil, probably going to rally a little more. We do have a bullish engulfing in progress now. The only reason it's not an official buy signal is because it wasn't in the oversold region within a certain lot of time. Next chart, heating oil, doing the same thing, looking a little friendly in a bear trend. Natural gas, buy signal 3 days ago, working great. We had a low just a hair under the bid that we knew was supposed to be the price to buy it at just after the close of the previous day. That's how my strategy performs. You get the signal, you do the calculations automatically. It comes up on the screen with the right orders in advance, just waiting to get a fill. Bingo, You're having breakfast or whatever, and it gets filled. Protective sell stop is immediately automatically placed. And when we see what happens next, that's about it. So this is doing fine. It's up a little on the day. Looks like a new high close, but not by very much. And it hasn't made a higher high yet. Looking forward to that in the next day or two. Next, gold. I've been mentioning gold and silver and platinum have been having big problems. You saw silver's unbelievable double top with bearish engulfing sell signals on both highs. And we'll see it again in a moment. You won't see a chart like that with my signals performing as unbelievably good for a long time. Well, I hope not, but that's probably the way it is. We're challenging a support in gold. We're not oversold yet. I think it's about to make new lows for a month or two. This looks like it is topped out in sort of a double top. Not quite what I would call a double top, but it's close. I can understand it if you'd like to call it that, but it's turning bearish. Next, the silver. Bearish engulfing on the high. We made almost a new high with another bearish engulfing sell signal at the top of a double top formation. 3 days later, we had on May 10th, and a complementary, I'll call it, another bearish engulfing signal, and it crashed the next day. And again today, we have lower lows again. I think this is a $7,000 to $9,000 trade, something along those lines. Damn good trade. Next chart. Oh, I meant to mention that we're oversold now in silver. That is why it's not going down as fast as it was. It went out awfully fast. So I'm expecting a little bit of a bounce here very soon. Any old time, I'm happy to see it go lower each day, but I don't have any signals or reasons to jump out quite yet. And I am not showing you on this chart the trailing buy stop, which would be definitely down in the 24.5, 24.10, 20.30 range, but probably we didn't get hit in the last couple of days. Pretty darn sure. I know where it should be. Next chart is platinum. We got a little bit of an up day, but there's that double top coming up. We haven't had any downside breakout between the two highs like we have in silver, and boom on that thing. So and that brings me to a point, and I apologize for silver. How low are we going to go? And I said so the day it broke out several days ago. You take, and I'll do this right now for you. Let's go to create a little vertical stubby line. It's going to go from the highest high to the lowest low of that and break the end off. Do not. And now we're going to measure from the bottom of the double top formation down the same. There we go. That's the downside objective, 2280 or 90, a little under 23. And we're at 2390 now. It'd be nice if we went there immediately. But I'm thinking there's going to be a bounce before we finally get down there. Now, that's a minimum downside objective. It could go further. Sorry. Well, I'll leave that line there, of course, for the future. Now, bullish engulfing, new signal today in copper. This could do as well as that one did. We're going to find out. It's the brand new signal today. I've mentioned several times before also, my ER signals sometimes tend to cluster. You get within about a month, 2, 3, and very rarely, but sometimes 4 signals, and they'll all be bullish or they'll all be bearish. And obviously only one of them can be the highest high or lowest low. And that usually is what ends up happening. So maybe this one's the lowest low. I got a signal that didn't work very well. It went up for a couple of days and back down again. So I like what I see. Brand new signal. This buy price will be set when the market closes. Let's see what happens. It's going to stay green unless it all of a sudden goes below the previous day's close. That's going to change it back to yellow again. No reversal. Next chart. Oh, by the way, how much higher if this is good? Well, obviously at least up to the resistance of 3.84, let's say, and maybe up into this range here, 4.00. Yeah, that's it. Next. new low close, downside breakout, not stopping yet, although we just barely nicked the low that happened way back here on October 6th. So that's it. We're now down 2 hard down days in a row. Both of them are oversold condition. RSI has dropped to in the teens, which is darn low, not incredibly low, but very low. When I put a horizontal line at 1819 on this RSI indicator, every time within a day or so that we got down to that level, it turned around. I don't have to say anymore. This is starting to rally already off of today's low, I believe, I think, crossing my fingers. Next chart, oversold terribly and has been down to 14. Now, I would have said the same thing yesterday, and it did make a new low today. But I have to say the same thing. It's extremely oversold. It's highly likely to start to bounce, and it probably will bounce up back up to about 50. This is soybean oil. A lot of bearish stuff going on in grains. Next chart. Bear move starting, got oversold, bounced a little bit, starting to reverse. This is soybean meal. It does have a variety of support levels on the way down, but I think it is going to challenge the lowest lows of last week and make lower lows. Now that's going to hit another oversold condition if it drops off sharply down toward 400, I suppose. And I don't know. I'm gonna go back to neutral. I'm sorry. Too much support, oversold, bounced off of what it should have. I'm neutral. Next, corn. How can I be? We are oversold. That's the only thing I can say. We're going to probably rally up to resistance, which is going to be in the ballpark of the blue line or a little bit higher. It used to be support until today. It bounced off of that previous low with a bullish engulfing that worked for a couple of days. And then I got another bullish engulfing that didn't work. Now, I mentioned clustering. So since we're oversold, there is that far out chance that we'll get another green bullish and I'll have to swing around to bullish again. But not now, not yet. This is Tierra del Fuego, heading south. Next chart, wheat. Buy signal is still the lowest low for the trend down, but we have new lows except for the reversal day. Looks like a new low close is likely, and that's going to end up challenging and probably dropping below the low of May 3rd, which was a low for a couple, 3 days. Good enough to make some money, and you would have been out with a profit before it did what it's done in the last week or so. Next chart, live cattle. Almost got the top of the market, missed it by a few dollars or whatever in a couple of days, but the prices are very close. And I'm not saying we sold the high of the red days or bought the bottom of the green days. That is not true at all. But the day is colored green or red because the signal resulting from the way it acted and in the conditions that it was doing what it was doing, that's the reason it's all top to bottom green or red. But that's not that I sold the high tick and bought the low tick. That does not happen with this technique. But I do, as you can see, pick tops and bottoms a lot. Next, we have the low of the move so far on lean hogs, Miss Piggy. But today, we're challenging what was a false sense of concern a few days ago because we've made new highs the last couple of days. So the signal worked out okay. I can't brag about this, and it's not that one good of a trade or signal, et cetera, but we are most likely out of the position, whether it was an ER1 or an ER3, it doesn't matter, with a small profit, but no losses. OJ, oversold, came down to the middle of the old pennant formation. Very unusual, but I've seen it rarely. Kind of an interesting situation. Got oversold at the same time, starting to head back up. Today is just an inside doji, sideways, nothing, no comment. Cocoa, we hit the high of the move so far. We had a lower low the next day, and we came back up yesterday and today to about the same highs. If you're interested in going short because of the sell signal and or any other reason that you dig up, I would consider doing so. My personal opinion. I used to have a broker's license for 30 some years, and it was a hedge fund manager, blah, blah, blah. So I'm saying it the way I should because I don't have a legal license and I can actually say what I want, but the way I used to. My personal opinion. The only thing I don't like about today is it's an outside up day at the moment, and I'm looking at hitting sell signals while it's having a bullish engulfing. Not a good match. Maybe it'll come down to lower on the day, and then I'll have a bearish engulfing. That'll be a great match. Next chart. Sugar, the sweet. Double top, started to come down. Mentioned that for a few days already. Not breaking out to the downside yet. Needed to go below 24.85. But that's the start. Next, back to the E-mini. What are we doing? We're up 5 points on the S&P 500. Going back to that chart right here, the S&P is almost high and last right now. Oh, and it looks like it's closed an old tiny gap that I forgot to mention. Yeah, almost exactly. I gotta find out what this is. That low is 1527. Today's high is 1524. Good enough for government work. No offense. We left 300ths, 3 ticks behind so far. That gap is closed. Now what? Overbought QQQs. Gap is closed in the spider. No breakouts yet, but looking pretty good. Everything adds up to higher and higher. But is this a point where we're going to have a 1 or 2 or 3 day correction? Talk to you tomorrow.